He'd grown up in D.C., did a couple years in the Navy. Then he decided to go to broadcasting school. He'd been the announcer at football games at his high school. He remembered that he liked it, so he, on a whim, decided he'd go to broadcasting school. This was the 1940s, 1950s. He ended up chasing broadcasting jobs all the way to the Southeast. He went to West Virginia for a while. He was doing small-town radio gigs in West Virginia. That's where he met his future wife. They ended up being married for 65 years. Then in 1956, he was at an Orlando radio station, and he got to interview the new owner of the Washington Senators baseball team. The owner took a shine to him, asked him if he would consider coming back home to D.C. to audition for the announcer job at the Washington Senators home field at Griffith Stadium. He went back to D.C., did the audition, got the job, and he became the Senators announcer. Became part of the firmament of Washington, D.C. He was the announcer for the Senators. He did it for a million other outfits. Washington Jewish Week had a great profile of him a couple years ago where they listed all the little forgotten teams that he had announced for at one time or another. The Washington Lions, hockey. Washington Presidents, hockey. Was another basketball team called the Washington Capitals. There was a forgotten Washington football team called the Washington Federals. He announced for all of them. But there was one gig he held longer than any other, one he actually did for free. And even though he is 89 years old now, he is still working. And when his wife died, his wife of 65 years died a few weeks ago, he said that throwing himself into the work on that one project, that one special project of his, it was the one thing that's been keeping him going. He said he can't bring himself to think about his wife's death. But his work on this one project, which he does every 4 years, which he's been doing every 4 years since 1957, he said he was really grateful to be able to throw himself into that work again this year because it's been so hard. It's been a welcome distraction after his wife died. This man's just kind of an incredible American story at any level. By now, you've probably figured out that the gig that he's been throwing himself into, the one that he's been doing every 4 years since 1957, is his gig as the announcer of the inaugural parade. Every time we swear in a new president, it's always him every 4 years. Since Eisenhower, he's been doing it. Look, this is a little nightly news profile they ran on him at the last inauguration in 2013.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president.
There he was at his perch today.
Barack Obama.
If it sounds like Charlie Brotman's done this show before, oh, he has.
You've seen 11 presidents walk down Pennsylvania Avenue.
11 different presidents.
Charlie's 85 years old, and today was his 16th inaugural parade. They call him the president's announcer because the president listens to him for cues on when to salute, stand, sit. He remembers hearing it from a White House staffer.
The woman says to me, "Did you know you were the eyes and ears of the president?" And I said, "No, I hadn't thought about it. I wish you hadn't told me."
It all started in 1949, the first parade ever broadcast on TV. President Truman's staff asked Charlie and some other broadcasting students to do play-by-play. A few years later, he was announcing baseball games for the Washington Senators and met President Eisenhower. The White House called up and asked him to do parade duty again.
I said, "This is incredible. I don't deserve it, but I'm not giving it back."
And he hasn't, from Eisenhower to Obama. An inaugural parade, Charlie says, always reflects the president's personality.
So Eisenhower?
He's a military man. He's probably saying, "I got to get back to the White House and do some work."
And Kennedy?
Kennedy is let's party.
All these years, and Charlie has never gotten a penny.
4 years from now, are you right back here?
I am thinking about retiring when I'm 120.
That was 4 years ago. This year, Donald Trump fired him. He is 89 years old. He has been the announcer at every inaugural parade since Ike in '57. He's done it for 60 years. He's great at it. Not incidentally, he also says the preparation he was already doing for this year's parade has been the only thing keeping him going since the loss of his wife of 65 years just a few weeks ago. But Donald Trump doesn't want him. The transition apparently sent him an email firing him. He told CNN, quote, "I felt like Muhammad Ali had hit me in the stomach." He said when he read the email, he thought, quote, he was going to commit suicide. He told the ABC affiliate in Washington that he was heartbroken and destroyed. But he's fired. They've given the job instead to a Trump supporter, who they say is a guy who's done some freelance announcing. But our inaugural announcer before now, his name is Charlie Brotman. He's 89 years old. He did nothing to deserve this. But this is the new president. This is what he's like.